You may struggle with procrastination, and there are a few different types. Now, the way I work with the issue is that I look at it from a trauma perspective. So if you can understand some of the complex trauma that you experience in your life, and you struggle with procrastination, not going after your goals, or constantly putting things off, or making promises to yourself and then not following through with them, understanding the type of procrastination you have, and there's a few different types, how it relates back to the trauma can inform how you treat it in your current day life. So, I'm actually currently working on a book that explains a lot of the trauma that we experienced, but basically there's four kind of main types of trauma, or essentially I look at it from a needs-based perspective. There are four essential needs that we have, and the degree to which that those needs are not being met in childhood will impact us in various ways, but certainly in procrastination in four different ways based on what need it was that wasn't met. Now, you may have all four of these issues, depending on maybe very few of your needs are met. If that's the case, it's likely that you have all of these issues, but you may just have one of these issues, and it could be related back to that unmet need that you had in childhood. So the first need that we have in childhood is connection and attunement. Now, that means basically to be anchored in your own body, to feel like you have a right to exist. It involves a lot of physical touch to be embodied, right? Not only basic safety needs are met, to be held, to be fed, all these different things, but attunement is to be understood intuitively, that your parents, your caregivers are actually paying attention. They can almost telepathically know what your needs are and predict them. Now, for many people, that need is not met, connection, attunement. So what that will lead to is a disconnection from our physical body. Now, how will that relate to procrastination? The way the nervous system works is that it sends us these signals all the time. So it'll tell you now is the appropriate time to take action, you're well rested. Other times it'll be sending you signals like you're exhausted, you're too tired to do this, and those can be very, very, factual. Those are just the facts that the nervous system are the signals that it's given us. If we don't have that attunement and that connection, we become disconnected from our own physical bodies, right? Disembodied. And it's very difficult for us to pick up on those signals, those healthy instincts, the intuitive sense of now is the appropriate time to take action. We will force action at the wrong times. And we will not take action when it would be appropriate to take action. So that's one of the primary ways. When we don't get that sense of being in touch with our body and the signals that we're receiving, it will lead to mismanagement of the signals of our energy systems. So that's how the need for connection and attunement, if it's not met in childhood, can lead to procrastination. The second one is probably the most important and the most common one I see with people. We have a need in childhood for, I call it freedom and confidence. So the freedom is to express yourself, to go and make mistakes in life. Confidence is the sense that it's safe to do these things, that yeah, there's challenges there, but you can actually go, you have a great chance of taking that on, overcoming that challenge. That's instilled in us in childhood. We often don't get that. And what that leads to very often in terms of procrastination is a delay in engaging with a goal that we have, because there's this sense, well, it's dangerous, it's not safe to do it. If I make a mistake in this, I'm going to be judged very harshly, or I'll be rejected. So that's how that need, if it's not met, can show up as procrastination for us. Another one is the basic need for love and respect. Now, it's not a syrupy type of love that we sometimes get in childhood, which is not what I'm talking about. It's to be genuinely appreciated for who you are unconditionally, and your boundaries are being respected as a child. Now, if that need isn't met for us, we often see productivity as a means to gain self-respect or to earn love from other people. And of course, well, now the task that you're trying to take on, it's not just about this task that I'm doing, it's about my identity, it's about my worthiness. And there's too much at stake, and it leads to this inability to take action on it. so we avoid it. The last need, so we talked about connection, attunement, freedom, and confidence, love and respect. The last one I'm going to mention here in my model for this complex trauma that we have is the need for meaning and purpose. So sometimes in life, even if those other needs are met, we still may not get a need for meaning and purpose. What is life about? Is that instilled in us, that life has a bigger purpose, that it's not just about materialism? The ability to make a compelling vision, the importance of making a compelling vision in a life. Sometimes we don't get that. Things are all about just the practical things, or just about making money, which isn't really a compelling enough reason, or a compelling enough purpose or meaning in life, right? It's not anchored in any wisdom. Now, when that's not there, we will find that procrastination shows up as a form of apathy. It's just like, now in this form, there's no real anxiety. There's not much anxiety. What there's a deep sense of is apathy. It's just sort of like a growing sense of what's the point in doing this, right? Now, it's often because we're not aligned with a life purpose, because we weren't told that it's kind of important that you have a sense of purpose in life to when you're engaging with life. We think it's just about, we were told it was all about the practical things in life and the maybe the accomplishments and things like this. So that can show up as a form of apathy. What do we do with this information? Well, the first one is the need for connection and attunement. Now, that can be basically just very basic things about, one tip I give people, if that's the type that you're struggling with, is to do constant check-ins with yourself. Like, let's say at the start of the day, you do a thing like, oh, how am I feeling today? There's usually, if that need wasn't met, there's a bulldozing of inconvenient feelings or sensations in the body. So you do a little check-in. Oh, I'm exhausted. Oh, on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being exhausted, I'm a 6. You start to pay attention to how you're doing, and that will inform your strategies in terms of how you're going about your day, in terms of your goal achievement. Right? That's one tip for that. I'm just going to keep this short for now, just because there's a lot of ideas in this. But the need for confidence, freedom, that is all about reframing the idea that it's unacceptable to make a mistake. Your goals, as you're going after them, will now become more about proactively making mistakes and seeing mistakes as an essential part in growth, in you actually achieving the goal. So it's giving yourself active permission and watching your reactions when you make a mistake, because that's an inevitability. It's also about the story that you tell yourself about your ability. I have every capability. It's recognizing your talents and staying around that story, rehearsing that story, writing it down, visualizing it, repeating it. Love and respect is a big one, because if that one wasn't there, we'll start to look at our lives as everything I do is a means to finally get love and respect. And this is all about detaching from outcomes, about not needing other people to give us the approval. It's about giving yourself approval for the things that you're doing with your life. So it's a form of detachment. It's about questioning, if this goes well, I'm going to get all this great feedback. Is that true? Also, if this doesn't go well, my life will fall apart. Is that true? It's a form of detachment through questioning. The last one, meaning and wisdom. Well, you start to, dare I say, look for alternative approaches to productivity. It's not about hustle. It's not about pushing yourself. It's about learning how your nervous system works. You start to find new information, new interesting ways to go about this, completely outside of the existing old school paradigm that we were told. And meaning is all about, you do not have the option of foregoing meaning or purpose in your life. Even if things make enough money for you, and there's nothing wrong with making money or whatever, but if that's all it gives you, there's something missing. And that you can't ignore that. Well, you can try to ignore it, you can repress it, but eventually it will come back as an issue for you. You can't escape dealing with that. It's just a matter of when you deal with it. So that's more about tapping into, what is it that I want to do? What do I feel drawn to? What do I feel attracted to? And spending more time in that or on that, and safeguarding time for that. Not only doing what you want all the time, but making a space to do what it is that you genuinely want to do and protecting that space. So let me recap. There's a lot in this short video. Procrastination isn't about laziness. It's trauma that leads to it. Trauma comes from unmet needs in childhood, and not to mention all the volatility and the adverse childhood experiences we experience. But those 4 unmet needs, now some people will have all 4 of those not met, and they might have all 4 of those types of procrastination show up. Some people will only have 1. Some people will have sort of lighter versions of each one or several of them. But that can give you an idea about where they're coming from. And I hope this video gives you sort of a starting position in terms of how do I go about actually dealing with this, because I'm here to tell you it's not going to be about bullying yourself, and it's not going to be about picking yourself up and, you know, getting on with it and trying harder. That's not it. This has to be an understanding about why the issue has manifested in your life and applying intelligent, thoughtful solutions to them. But they work. Hope that's useful, and I will see you guys very soon. Take care.